Good morning.
Well, look, it's not all doom and gloom for President Trump. These are just primaries, and he hasn't. Not all of his backed candidates have lost. But what does this say, perhaps, about the prospects of President Trump running for the next election?
You're right. It is a mixed bag, and certainly the race you mentioned in Georgia, Brian Kemp, who was a Republican, and a Republican. This is the race for governor in Georgia, and not only is Brian Kemp a Republican, he's a Republican in the mold of Donald Trump. Their views are indistinguishable, but Donald Trump is still carrying a grudge because Brian Kemp refused to decertify Georgia's votes for Joe Biden in the 2020 election. Donald Trump's still very angry about that. He threw his weight behind David Perdue, who really almost looked like a ventriloquist dummy on the campaign trail. I mean, all of his rhetoric was very Trumpian. He lost by a mile. I mean, Brian Kemp had 71% of the vote. I mean, that is a wipeout in any country. That's the kind of vote you tend to see in dictatorships. So not even close. But a different, as you mentioned, a different case in other places. In Pennsylvania, the Trump-picked candidate for Governor, Doug Mastriano, did very, very well. But a mixed bag in the Pennsylvania Senate, where the Trump-picked candidate, Mehmet Oz, is also in a runoff situation with David McCormick. So Trump, very, very mixed. You ask the question, is Trump losing his grip on the Republican Party? I think the answer really does have to be yes. It's amazing that we're still talking about Donald Trump. It's been almost 2 years since he lost the election, but his influence on the party is important. And I'm going to go ahead and say, I think it's Trump is the problem. I think Trump's sentiment, I think the Make America Great Again sentiment is alive and well in the Republican Party. It's just that ex-President Trump, is so very focused at the moment on whether the election is stolen. Most Republicans, whether they support the stolen election or not, they've moved on.
Does it matter